Thank you for the patience. Good morning. Happy Monday to all of you. It's Monday. Yeah. Can you tell me where you're coming from? St. Louis, Ohio, Cleveland, Kansas, Oklahoma, anywhere else? Where? Kansas. Yeah, it's yeah, I've been there before. Um, well, welcome. I come from Rhode Island, representing Genesis Center. But I'm originally from Paraguay. Have you heard of that country? It's not Uruguay, Paraguay, in the middle of South America. So if I ask you now, what are you thinking? This same moment, would you give me an honest, accurate answer? But also at the same time, would you be able to catch the other 5 or 10 thoughts that are going on in your head the moment I ask you that question? Like, like that one thought that is going on in our mind. Okay. Um, with this all the time, right? Day after day, our brain home, get ready to go to bed, and the noise is there. It's like, why is it that I'm having these many thoughts in my head? Like I'm overthinking. But no, our brain goes through that process all day long, right? Just don't realize it until we want to get okay, it's time to go to bed. I'm tired. I need to go to sleep, but my brain won't stop. Our brain never stops. My name is Laura Palumbo, and I work as a learning facilitator at Genesis Center in Providence, Rhode Island, like I mentioned before. And I've been implementing the principles of neuroplasticity for some time now after being diagnosed with complex PTSD and other stuff. Like I can relate with some attendees that we were talking before the session. Um, so I decided to dig into this field for personal reasons. And then I got dragged into, by the immense curiosity. I'm like, I wanted to know more. I wanted to know why my brain was doing certain things or making me do certain things, making me behave in a certain way I didn't want to, right? And also, I decided to use what I learned with my own kids at home and with my students, which at the beginning I had no idea no clue how to do it, no clue whatsoever. But little by little, doing some research or reading many, many books, or trying to read them. And I mostly do audiobooks because of that, because I have to do something else while I'm reading or listening in this respect. It's like my body needs to get moving. So usually I do audiobooks when I do the dishes, when I fold the clothes and stuff like that. So it's like our brain is multitasking. So you can relate. Yep. Oh yeah, I love them. So the decline in my cognitive performance was alarming, along with my lack of focus and attention. Give me 1 second because I need to. Yes. Yes. And once I started to turn 40 is when I'm not going to tell how old I am now. Yeah, it went down. I remember my therapist mentioned that I could get better, but that would be a long journey. It would take a long time, kind of like there's hope maybe when you turn 80. Yeah. So I decided to take control of my own healing journey, let's say. I remember I used to miss appointments. That's bad. I used to forget to return calls or text messages. Family members who would get so upset at me. They used to think that I did it on purpose. No, I didn't. Okay. Forget my phone all the time. Still happens. My husband is like, "How come you don't bring your phone with you?" Well, in the 80s or 90s, that doesn't exist. So I can survive without a phone. All right. And even reading a chapter in a book was a difficult task. just keeping focus on what I was reading. And I used to have 3 to 4 books sitting on my night table. And I could never finish one without jumping to the other one. It was like I'm reading, if they ask me, what are you reading? I'm reading 3 books, but I'm in different stages in each chapter. It's kind of like I couldn't commit to one. And I wanted to share a little bit of this struggle because I want to give some hope to those who deal with the same, whatever the cause might be. You know, there are many different causes for these kind of situations. And also to bring some awareness to the fact that we are all able and capable to change our brain, to change our wiring when we have the right tools and information. I think there's a lack of information and tools with regards to this very, very important theme topic. My goal is to start breaking the misconceptions, biases, taboo, whatever you want to call it, that goes with opening about mental health. And I believe that our job as educators is to bring awareness and the necessary tools to start the conversation in our classrooms. You know, it is sometimes difficult to have students open up or even just addressing the term mental health in our classrooms. So kind of like for me, introducing the term neuroplasticity and its principles and ideas on how to implement like what to do in our daily lives. I'm going to go more in detail into this, but it has been working for me, not only personally, but also in my classroom. And I can see the results in my students' first attitudes, learning outcomes, and performance in general, because it builds your confidence. So this presentation delves to give you an introduction to neuroplasticity. It's not a very in-depth, like technical type of, because I'm not a neuroscience scientist, I'm just a teacher. I always say that, I'm just a teacher. I am a teacher, the teacher, right? And the ability we all have to heal and change our circumstances. And I wish I had access to this knowledge earlier in my life. Who didn't? Okay, I have a few questions for you, the people here. How many of you speak 2 different languages? 1, 2, 2, 2 or more, 3, 4, a little, poquito. Who can play a musical instrument? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Ooh. Who is good at math? Who is good at math? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. We have everything. Who's good at baking? Who's good with plants? You know, you need a special touch for plants. Half? Half of your plants are alive, half of them are dead. Ah. Sometimes you water them, sometimes you don't. Yeah. Who's good at talking to a big audience? Nice. 1, 2. I try. Okay. So can you tell me what facilitated the development of this special skill that you have? Is it exposure? Is it motivation? Is it family? Is it genes? Is it fate? Yes, just yell it out. Yeah. So you were always encouraged as a child to talk and explore. So it was curiosity, right? Inquisitive nature. Anyone else? Yes. By your job? Okay, based on interest, and in this case, pushed by your job to talk in front of people. The same happened with me. I used to be an introvert child, like to the point nobody knew I existed. And it amazes me how is it that with practice, you know, we get to whatever we want to accomplish, it gets there. I'm talking in front of you. My mom would be surprised I'm doing this. Okay, so who believes what genes that who believes that genes predetermine our intelligence? Raise your hand. Influence, okay, I like that, not predetermined. Who believes that we have the same IQ through life? No? Nobody? How do you know? Good. You're on, on the right track. Does an IQ test determine the abilities of our brain? No. Is success genetic? No. Is it related to how smart we are? No. So our circumstances, our lifestyles, and background might be different. Even the neurochemistry in our brains is different. What are, some people lack of serotonin, and we need to get medication for that to, supply. So the neurochemistry of our brain is different. But even though we're all different, we are the same in the inside, aren't we? We're now starting to work towards a healthy brain, or better yet, a happy brain. I want to know from the chat if they can hear me or if I need to put the microphone closer to my mouth. If presenting, money, baking. Good. Awesome. Thank you for the input. Awesome. Thank you for the feedback. So, do you identify with any of these? Memory issues, focus, attention span? They don't see me. They see the presentation, but they cannot see me. Oh, it says that the video is on. The video is on. Well, I'm sorry about that. The video is on, shows. Maybe that's the setting they decided to do. Okay. Um, all of them. Who read all of them? You read all of them, so you weren't paying attention to what I was saying because I didn't say any of that. Okay, how does it feel? I'm testing your brains right now, but you weren't paying attention. I did that on purpose. Okay, how does it feel when you say or think to yourself, I am forgetful, I have memory issues, I can't concentrate, I have ADHD or ADD, I'm so dumb, I keep forgetting things, I'm not smart, I'm antisocial? How does it feel? Not good, right? But we do keep using these terms. And why do we do it then if we know they're not good? Okay, let me go to the next slide. There we go. I want you to go back in time and remember when you were a kid or a teenager. Were you often called names? You're blessed. She said no. Like lazy, boring, annoying, forgetful, not smart, unathletic, too sensitive, crying for everything, complaining for about everything. So do you remember people who used to tell you these kind of things? Yeah, right? Didn't it feel awful? Oh yeah. Did you believe them? Most of the time, right? Yeah. Did those labels determine your worth? A little bit? Your self-esteem? Yeah, depending on who. Yeah, who did that and how many times. Self-esteem, your personality, did that determine your personality also at least a little bit, somehow? Um, as adults, we also label ourselves constantly. It's not just other people, that want to either hurt us, but we do it ourselves all the time. For example, when we say, I'm too shy, I'm never going to present at COAPE. I can't speak in public. I'm an introvert. I always tell my coworkers, everybody can do it. Just you have to lose the fear. The audience, they are not extraterrestrials. They are humans like us. And if we make mistakes, they also do mistakes, and it's okay. That's what I think. Um, so we still let this type of statements shape our world and our personalities. But is it possible to change one's personality? Do you think you can change your personality? He's that person over there. He's like, difficult. I don't think a person can change. Yes, you think? Um, can we change our attitudes? Yeah. So why then changing a whole personality? Why wouldn't it be possible to? Can we get rid of traumas? Can you transform them? Yes, you can process in a different way. Yeah, it's kind of like you cannot erase them, you cannot delete them, pretend they didn't happen. That's the worst thing we can do, pretend it didn't happen. But yes, we can do something about it so that it doesn't affect our lives in a bad way. Um, so this neuroscientist, this is Dr. Joe Dispenza, he states that whatever you choose your attitudes, actions, reactions, feelings, and habit to be, that in turn will create your immediate reality. He says your personality creates your personal reality. Have you ever heard of this? He's good. You should watch his talks on YouTube. He's really good. So I'm gonna emphasize on this so that stays in your brain. Your personality creates your personal reality. It is what we believe, do, practice, and feel every day what will create in turn not only our possibilities, but the reality we wish to have. Yes. Yes, it is true that we are born with a set of genetic predispositions for a myriad of skills and physical traits as well. We are all born with the same potential, though. Okay. Our internal thoughts and the external programming that we receive reinforce more of that personality or perception we have of ourselves, leading to beliefs or behaviors that sometimes become too hard to change or break. But the good news is that what goes into your mind and in your life changes your brain physically. And it is our choice to change our brain for the better or not. What if I tell you that this same moment that we are creating at this exact moment, the person you're going to become tomorrow? Have you thought of that? And that you are physically wiring that person into your brain right now. And as a matter of fact, your brain is changing as of right now, physically. Let's go to the next slide. So with this slide, I want to introduce the following term, synapse. Have you heard of this term before? And I will do it by providing two examples. 2 weeks ago, when I was meeting with Dr. Buchanan at work. She's my coworker at Genesis Center. We were meeting to go over our slides. When I sat down, opened my computer, and looked for this PowerPoint presentation, they were nowhere to be found. They were gone. Of course, I was surprised, and I found the digital navigator to find a way to retrieve. It happened that I was working on that on the finishing touches, let's say. So I had a template with all my ideas, but that one day is when I how do you call it when you have like the focus hyper, it has a term, hyper focus. Like I was hyper focused and I finished my presentation. I see it wasn't there anymore because I closed my computer like I always do, went upstairs, do house chores. The next day when I had a hybrid class on Zoom, I opened my computer and he asked me, do you want to restore the blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I wasn't thinking. I just wanted to start my class on Zoom. So it didn't get saved. So this presentation, I did it like, I don't know, a week and a half. um, but that input, if you see here, the input, that was the information my brain received. Was the information my brain received? Your presentation is gone. Poof, disappeared. What's the emotion? I decided that same moment. I was surprised, but she won't. Dr. Buchanan will myself. I'm not giving. I'm not a quitter. A reason for me to not present a co. I can. I was afraid because it was only 2 weeks left. Putting together this information, my presentation gone, and the emotion I chose at that time uh, is what makes produce the synapse. So I'm sure it was created many times before because it wasn't the first time that this happened to me, especially when I was in college in the past. I'm not. Me. When I go to back in, I wasn't crying over it, right? So by matching this input with a specific motion, my brain automatically created a synapse. What's a synapse? A tiny connection through which neurons communicate. It is like a pathway that allows any signal to pass between neurons. So our brain creates these pathways and reinforces them throughout our lives. With everything we go through, everything we learn, everything we experience, and going back to the labeling we receive from others or even from ourselves, when we do it with negativity, lack of love, and undermining our worth, what we're doing is reinforcing those neural pathways that were created before. And we do it in an endless loop. Let me go to another example. Who of you had a bad day this past week? Oh, sorry to hear that. I'm surprised to see that many hands. Um, do you wake up thinking, today's one of those days? No? Or I woke up today on the wrong side of the bed. Or it was kind of like an event during the day and that changed the whole day, right? Was your entire day doomed or just half of the day? Had just half of the day. Wasn't that a choice you made? There we go. Um, so did you notice that the moment you focus on negativity, you keep attracting more of the same? Think of a magnifying glass and sunlight coming through that magnifying glass. What the magnifying glass is going to do is going to restrict the size of the sunlight coming and make it stronger on the other side, producing what? Fire, right? So think of the magnifying yourself as a magnifying glass and the focus you put into something like that magnifying glass. So the focus would be the energy you put into something and what comes out is going to be stronger, right? The focus we imprint is the energy we put into whatever we want to get accomplished. So whenever we have a bad day, is it our day to be blamed or is it our programs, our programming? Do you think? Have you ever thought of that? So think of our program like a computer software. And our brain is the computer. The operator is the conscious mind. And our unconscious mind is the silent controller. The unconscious mind is the silent controller. And that's when our brain is on autopilot. So our subconscious mind is literally our brain's neurons silently firing. So when the synapse is created in our brain could be, so the synapse is here, that in this case, I gave these two examples. One that was happened in the moment, maybe happened to me before, maybe never happened to you before, but you know, that synapses is being created right there, right then, or it was created before and you just keep reinforcing. And how do you keep reinforcing? By choosing what type of emotion you want to apply to it, okay? So the synapses could be conscious or unconscious. It is up to us to override the autopilot. And the good news is that we can hack it. Do you know that the unconscious part of your brain actually makes the most of your decisions? We think approximately 35,000 thoughts in a day. Approximately. Some people do a lot more. My son. In a year, we'll have 12,775,000 thoughts. And if we live 85 years, we'll end up with 1,085,875,000 thoughts in our lifetime. That's a lot. Are we aware of all of them? Oh, no. Actually, 90% of the thoughts are unconscious. 90%. And they silently fire to wire us. You may have heard the neurons that fire together wire together. Have you heard of that? And that is when neurons respond to the same stimulus and connect to form a neural ensemble. Let me put your brains to work right now, or better said, to test. Don't worry, it's not a difficult test, says the tester. Okay, ready? Look at this picture. Took you a split of a second to recognize this animal, right? Split of a second. And with that one thought, your brain went quickly to other memory archives to retrieve other information. What memories or sensations came to your mind with that first thought? The first thought is cow. It's a cow. What memories or sensations came at first? Smell, sound, the moo sound. What else? Bottom feeding. Yes, yes. What else? Your uncle was a dairy farmer, so the place, the experience of being in a farm. Anything else? Milking? Hmm, that's a skill. I tried. Um, for me, instantly connected me to my childhood memories when I used to visit my grandma, and near her house there was a farm. And again, this was in the 80s, so cows were roaming free in the streets. And I remember I was always wondering where they were going, but when they were on my way, I stopped thinking. I froze. I just saw the pointy, sharp horns they had. You know, like the one that is somewhere over here. If you saw that bull, is it a bull? Yeah. So that's what I saw. And obviously, I would be frozen. Maybe if I was lucky, I would have time to go inside my grandma's house or hide behind a tree until they go by and mind their own business so I can continue playing or going to wherever I wanted to go. But that was one of my biggest fears. And same thing if I see a picture of a hen, what my brain remembers is the time I tried to grab a baby chick. And all of a sudden what I see behind me jumping at me is a velociraptor. Yeah. So I let go of her baby, obviously, and I think I broke the sound barrier that day when I ran for my life. And as kids, we magnify situations, you know, we make them bigger, situations and experiences. And the emotion embedded turns into our memories way bigger and exaggerated. And we are more difficult to overcome. Next picture. I heard that. Oh, what does this make you feel? Nope, dizzy. Have you ever done anything like this before? No, you would never. Would you do it for $1 million? No. I mean, in such a restricted space, I wouldn't do it, not even for 2 million. But if it is like at this, I don't know. Yesterday, I was like getting dizzy in the elevator to the reunion tower, and yeah, I don't think I'll do that either. Have any of you visited the reunion tower already? No? Did you enjoy the view? Was it at night or during the day? Yeah, I just want to hear if somebody went during the day. I imagine at night is Nicer? Yes? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that, the fact that it was, when she told me about that, I was like, I know. But I was like, how come? I didn't know that. Okay, let's go to the next picture. So for some of you, it's fear. Definitely no. So for some people, it's like excitement, sense of freedom, right? Suicidal. Suicidal. Oh, sorry about that. That's true. Okay, this is the last picture. And this picture depicts an emotion. And even though it's not specific, it might be to the eyes of a person who went through trauma or a loss of any type. What else can you add when you see this? Empathy. What other feelings might be involved? Compassion, love, sadness, loneliness, nostalgia. So with this, each of these pictures, your brain went quickly amplifying and suppressing specific signals before propagating them to their to the other brain areas. It's kind of like communication between certain parts of our brain. So previous synapses or neuronal ensembles, if I'm pronouncing it right, were activated, facilitating the memory recall. But this was obviously shaped by your own experiences. Okay. If you were never exposed to these examples or had no experience whatsoever, let's say, of ever seeing a cow or drinking its milk or being on top of a tallest building in your country, then your emotions and beliefs will be definitely different than a person who did. Your perceptions will definitely be different. Your experiences then shape your perception of reality. Velociraptor, remember? So it all depends on how we wire those experiences with what we choose to feel or believe and how to remember them. Now, big term now, neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's capacity to change and adapt in response to experience, learning, and environmental changes. And it involves learning, relearning, and unlearning processes. It is also a study of how our brains can change, not only physically, but also the ensembles I mentioned before. And these changes can transform behaviors, can transform addictions, can help us recover from injuries, adapt to new situations, heal from trauma, learn something new, deal with day-to-day anxiety, unlearning outdated information, relearning new concepts or life habits, and improving our quality of life. There are two types of neuroplasticity, structural and functional. Structural is literally the ability our brain has to change physically. And functionally, these synapses, these neuronal ensembles, are the ones that we can create new ones, connect new ones to already existing ensembles, and that's the magic our brain can do. We are literally capable of training our brain to reorganize, adapt, recover, relearn, and unlearn anything imaginable. This is the type of information and good news I like to share, and sometimes it becomes difficult, like I mentioned before, to capture these concepts and give specific examples, specific enough to make our classrooms a haven, not only for our learners, but also for us educators as well. Now, does everybody have the photocopies? I see more people here. We're going to need the photocopies. And this document is posted in the WUVA app for the people who are attending online. Awesome. Thank you. So if they go down, they will find it there too. So this is a list of ways we can implement neuroplasticity in our classrooms, okay? I work on this in my classroom. I'm pretty sure that most of you who are educators are putting this into practice already, but we never were introduced to them as techniques or strategies to improve, you know, our brain's abilities and to get outcomes in the classroom. So I will pass the microphone. We have here personalized learning, active learning, repetition and practice, growth mindset, collaborating learning, multisensory approaches, mindfulness and emotional regulation, environment and context, continuous feedback, teacher training and development. Obviously, there will be more tips on how to apply neuroplasticity. This is what I came with. And after I pass the microphone, all of you will have to pass it around and read too. Okay? After we're done reading, and as we do this passing out the microphone, think of ways that you do already this in your classrooms if you are a teacher and if you or with your kids. Think of examples. Choose whatever you want to choose, and I'll take 2 examples, 2 volunteers, and maybe one from a chat from the audience. Okay.
Oh, okay, okay. So just give an example of these, of one of these. Okay, personalized learning. Foster personalized and active learning where students feel identified and seen. Include adaptive learning technologies, for example, using software that adjusts to their individual pace and style. Tailor teaching methods and materials to accommodate different learning needs and preferences.
Active learning promotes students' engagement and participation in discussions, problem solving, and hands-on activities, integrate real-world experiences and practical applications to deepen understanding and retention.
Repetition and practice, implement techniques that involve reviewing material at increased intervals to strengthen memory retention, focus on targeted feedback.
Okay, growth mindset. Encourage effort and resilience. Abilities can be developed through hard work and perseverance. Foster a positive attitude towards challenges. Praise the process, the effort, rather than the innate talent.
Collaborating learning, facilitate group work and peer tutoring, create a supportive environment where students learn from each other and share knowledge.
Multisensory approaches incorporate multiple learning modalities to engage different neural pathways and reinforce learning, integrate cross-disciplinary learning.
Mindfulness and emotional regulation. Introduce mindfulness and emotional regulation exercises to improve focus, reduce stress, and enhance emotional regulation. Teach students skills for managing emotions, setting goals, and building relationships.
Environment and context. Design a classroom rich in stimuli and motivation. Relate new information to existing knowledge and real-life context to make learning more meaningful.
Continuous feedback. Implement ongoing assessments to provide immediate feedback and adjust the instruction if necessary, and encourage students to reflect on their own learning processes and outcomes, so it's self-awareness.
Teacher training and development. Provide educators with training on the principles of neuroplasty and effective teaching strategies. Encourage collaboration in designing lessons that incorporate neuroplasty principles. I messed up neuroplasticity principles.
Class on your daily life.
I work with women. Can you hear me? I work with women that are recovering from addiction. And so their brains have been offline sometimes for 15 or 20 or years. And so their brains are really physiologically in recovery. And so learning, I teach GED classes. So teaching them algebra when they made it to 5th grade and have had a 25-year addiction in between really, is hard on a brain. And so my theory is I'm just providing you a safe paced classroom where your trauma is considered and you're safe to learn at whatever speed that is for you. It may take you 6 months, it may take you 6 years, it may take you longer. And so I just keep in mind all the time that if today's the day you're not ready to learn, then we'll be here tomorrow, and just give them a safe place to learn.
I teach in a correctional institution, and um, every day we do a lesson, and then the following day we will have a quiz. And if a student, achieves a certain score on the quiz, they get candy. It's a very minor thing, but they all love it, and so they actually work really hard to do well because it's that simple little thing. And for some of my guys that are in there who don't get commissary or don't have the money to buy some of this stuff, it's a very simple reward. Yes, it's sugar and sweet.
So I was thinking about integrating cross-disciplinary learning. I teach at a program where we serve a lot of GED students, but also a lot of adult basic education students. So I have people that are coming to me who never learned how to read in the first place. Particularly, I have one student who said, when he first came to me, I don't know how to read. But then we figured out he can actually do math very well. So he did go to school for a certain time and he threw himself into his math. After we got him reading a little bit more, doing some phonics and stuff like that, he's like, I want to do some math. I'm like, great, but we're going to do some word problems, right? So that you have to focus on doing some reading. And so I always tell people that are working with him, because I have some volunteer tutors, it's like, we're doing math, but he's fine with the math. Really what we're working on is reading, right? And understanding what the question is going on. And it's been really nice so far.
Nothing from a chat? Wow, those are great examples. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That might be a topic for a whole new presentation, maybe next time, because it's a lot we can talk about, so many examples and so many strategies we're already implementing. And it's great to learn from each other. Sharing is good. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. So when we integrate these approaches, we will be able to create a dynamic and responsible learning environment that harnesses the power of neuroplasticity to improve our students' outcomes. Isn't that right? Bless you. When we refer to the term mindfulness, can you see my? Yes. I'd like you to think of it not as a trend or as a religious practice. Think of it as the process of paying attention to paying attention, or paying attention to the present moment. That's something that nowadays, with the fast pace we're living and all the things we have to do, that noise in our brain, those thoughts won't let us, be mindful of what we're thinking, what we're doing, what we're experiencing. Mindfulness is the process of being consciously aware of your own mental environments and activity in a purposeful way at all times. So how often do you think, my first question when we started was, what are you thinking right now? Can you identify that thought? And can you also identify the background thoughts the moment I ask you that question? Now, how often do you think about what you are thinking? How often do you think? I never thought of that. That's a tricky question. How often do you think about what you are thinking? Never? Sometimes? Often. Good for you. Can you identify what kind of thoughts you're thinking? Can you label? Positive, negative? Are they harnessing your well-being or depression or anxiety or sadness? Are they lifting you up? So as one job you'll have to start performing, start doing today, paying attention to your thoughts and what kind of thoughts, identify what kind of thoughts they are. It is proven that mindfulness strengthens the prefrontal cortex. If you see this picture, the prefrontal cortex is in towards the front of the face, of the cranium, sorry. And we have the amygdala at the back of the cranium. And literally, we have two amygdalas, but the medical scientific term is amygdala, singular noun. So, the prefrontal cortex is in charge of our decision making, of our conscious thinking. Okay, so it is involved a lot in our cognitive processes, whereas the amygdala is there to save us. Let's say, it's always ready and alert in case anything bad happens, so that we can react quickly without having to think. Like if something is falling on our way, we're not gonna stop and say in slow. What's the term? Fly? Exact. Fight, flight, or freeze. Yes. Okay. So again, mindfulness, the practice of mindfulness strengthens the prefrontal cortex, okay, which is in charge of decision making, attention, and self-control. It will reduce the activity and the size of the amygdala, which is in the back. And the amygdala is also the brain's fear center. And this in turn will lower our stress and anxiety levels. It is proven that mindfulness also enhances the function and information and emotional regulation. So hippocampus is in charge of also of memory formation. It improves attention, emotion regulation, and self-awareness. So we just need to give me 1 second. I don't know where my slide went. Okay. Let our brain become our partner, our ally, instead of work against us. Train it to work with you and for you and not against you. Remember that every message we give our brain is being recorded, no matter if it is true or false, good or bad, positive or negative. Our brain does not do that distinction unless we practice awareness. Do you agree? All right. An important first step is by changing our self-talk. Okay, it is our self-talk that what forms our beliefs, sets up our personalities, and determines who we become. Okay, so I'm gonna read some statements, and just raise your hand or in the chat if you can put the hand up. If you identify with these statements, I'm gonna read these. These are not in my slides. I can never remember names. I never have enough time. I'm just not creative. I don't have the patience for that. Depends. I'm not good at this, or whatever you think you're not good at. I never know what to say. I love that. I'm too shy. Nobody likes me. Oh! These are all examples of what? Negative self-talk, right? Now, what about if I say, I am in control of every thought I think and everything I do? Do you ever think that? Put your hand up if you do. Good for you. My day is up to me And I choose to make today an incredible day. Oh, I like that. Good. I choose to have a great attitude, and it shows, especially today. I choose to have a great attitude, and it shows, especially today. Sometimes, very hardly ever. When I have a problem, I deal with it. I overcome it, and I learn because of it. Nice. That's good to see. I make good choices. I can do this. I know I can. Whatever you, yes, right? I feel great. My mind is sharp and clear. I am organized and I'm in control. No, she's shaking her head. I choose to believe in myself today and every day. So, who of you, I saw by raising your hands that the negative statements, like I saw more hands up than the positive statements. Yeah. So, how do you feel with these last statements, the positive ones, with regards to the negative? How do you feel? Are they encouraging? Are they uplifting? Are they what do you feel about that? Hmm? And impossible to feel all the time? Yes.
I don't think that it's always black and white. I think that you can feel both at the same time. And if you're sad, you can be sad and know that there's hope at the same time. So I think it's good to have that. Like, I'm hurting today, but I know that I have strength to get through this. So
It kind of relates to what you said. I think it's sort of impossible to feel those things all the time 100% because things happen throughout your day that kind of derail you. So to say that I'm in control 100% every day all the time is something that doesn't seem doesn't seem a reality. Yeah.
Wait a second.
Well, I was just thinking the negative seems like it could be more realistic when I'm like, I never know what to say, rather than I always know what to say, basically because I shouldn't speak to people, is what my thought process is.
so maybe it's easier for us to believe the negative rather than the positive because that's what neural pathways have grown in our brain.
Thank you. I wanted to get to that point. We have one from the chat, from the Zoom.
So Bunny says she agreed with your comment and your comment because she said our brains are complex and we think and feel many things at a time, but we can consciously add the feelings of hope and positivity to the mix to help create new pathways and strengthen some.
But I also think that that positive when you say I got this, I can handle it. Remember when we make that statement is about what we can handle. We cannot determine what others will say or do. And of course it's going to make us feel some sort of way, but I'm going to, when I feel myself getting upset, like, someone says something and you want to fight. Sorry, that only happens to me. But but you're gonna bring it back. You're gonna usa, do the count, whatever it is. I got this. I'm not gonna fight. Whew, even though I feel like it, I'm ready. But I have control. I have control. So, I think I agree with you that it's not always 100%, but mostly because we can control the way others, behave. But we can control how we think about it, how we react to it. And that's the important part.
No, I completely agree. This is my comment. I think it ties up to what you were talking about of like mindfulness. If we are conscious of the negative thoughts, that's when we can kind of attack and say like, wait, this is happening, but I got it. I can do it. And you kind of change the self-talk there. So she said, I have been working really hard for a long time to not listen to my first thought, carte blanche. I pause and dig through the thoughts for a better one. Yeah, so she goes through.
She goes through what is going on in her head. Nice. So we get the same. We all get the same feeling about it. So, but I wanted to point out the difference between self talk and affirmations. Okay, they are totally different. Affirmations do affirm, and whereas they are positive statements, yes, they are most often used in a spiritual or holistically oriented form of self-expression. Whereas self-talk is more, it's more specific. It's tailored to your own individual goals or aspirations or dreams, and they are literally directions we give to ourselves. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, it's more specific, tailored to your needs, to your goals, whatever you want to achieve. And when you start implementing positive self-talk, my suggestion is that you use the pronoun I. Okay, I. And because some people talk to themselves as if they are a second person. You need to get your act together. You need to stop being afraid of talking in front of people. They use the you. Try to use the I pronoun and the verb in the present tense. Because if you use, for example, the future tense, what you're saying, for example, I'm going to remember everything I studied today for the test. What your brain is getting is the information that you will do that in the future, some other time, not now. Okay, your brain does not make that distinction. It it does make that distinction with regards to that when we use another tense. Let me go to the next slide. And be mindful that our brain goes through an endless feedback loop. What you put in, you get back out in a continuous neural activity feedback loop. So this neural activity feedback loop is the process by which everything we think, feel, or do imprints or rewires our brain. Our rewired brain in turn affects everything we think, feel, or do, which again in turn imprints or rewires our brain. How can you start? Monitor your thoughts. Monitor your own self-talk, okay? Pay attention to your thoughts. Edit it, change your words. As soon as you catch yourself, like I do this all the time, and my coworkers are witnesses, that I say what I'm thinking, but then I change my mind. I'm not this or I'm not do that. I'm actually labeling myself by I stop and I rewrite my moment. Okay, so change your words, attitudes, and feelings. Add emotion. Emotion is a powerful programmer. Okay. Focus and practice. The more focus you apply, the more energy will be imprinted in your new self-talk. Record it and listen to it in the background, like while you're doing dishes, folding clothes. And I actually did this with an ESOL class I had in the winter time, yes. And it was they were multi-level classroom. But what I did is they work on their sentences using the present simple, using I, and they came up with a list of the things, their skills they already have, and they came up with this a list of skills that they wanted to improve or get better at, and they would record themselves in their cell phones. We would add music in the background, and they would listen to that at their homes, like in a loop. And I could see that literally it was helping them with their self-esteem and also with some sort of English pronunciation, the part. Yeah. Okay. Believe it, because if you don't believe it, who will then? Repeat. Repetition is proven to be a good technique to reinforce those newly created neural pathways and ensembles. We have a question.
I just want to know what you mean by add emotion.
add a feeling. When you are talking to yourself, you're not just going to repeat in a mindless way. Remember when we create a synapse, is the input plus the emotion, and the emotion is kind of like, as I said, the programmer is what enhances that synapse to happen. So when we add emotion or a feeling, like you really believe you're gonna achieve what you're trying to, get better at, that is what's gonna, that's what I mean by add emotion. You're welcome. All righty. All right, to wrap up, I'd like to practice some wiring with you. Okay, you have a green stone. Who doesn't have a green stone? All of you have one. If you don't, do we have extra? Do you all have? Okay. You may grab it if you wish. That's optional. Okay, or you may use something else. You may use a ring, a pendant, whatever you choose. Or you just can use your brain if you have a powerful brain. Some people can just do it in their heads. You too. You're gonna do it too. Okay. Ready? Ready? I'm gonna do it too. Thank you. All right. Think of something you wish to accomplish. You may close your eyes if you wish to visualize it better. Something that you want to get done or accomplish. Do you choose your goal already? You don't need to answer. Please be specific in your mind. It has to be specific. You may write it down if you wish, or you can keep it in your brain as you hold on tight to the stone. And add a positive emotion. Add a positive feeling now. Remember, emotion is the secret ingredient. It is like the spice that will enhance the flavor of your goal. Do you add a positive emotion already? Do you feel good about it? Believe your achievement is taking place right now, not tomorrow, not in 1 week, right now. Your achievement is done. And pay attention to how good it feels. It feels great, doesn't it? Give thanks because it's done. Your brain right now received the information that your goal is achieved. So say thank you in your mind. Do you hold on tight to your stones? Okay, now your stone is charged. That focus is the energy you're imprinting in your stone. Your stone has a power now. Or your mind, if you wish, if you wanted your mind to do the job. So you can open your eyes and you can repeat this process as many times as you want throughout the day. Every time you see this little stone, put it in your pocket, put it in your purse, put it on your desk. And when you're working, oh, stone, grab it. Even though you're not consciously thinking of your achievement, just the moment you hold on tight to it, your brain will activate the synapse we just created now automatically, and it will do the job for you. So this is a visualization technique. Let me know email me if it works after a few weeks, okay? Always be mindful of your attitudes. All attitudes are habits, and all habits are programs. These programs, as we have seen today, are our beliefs, our reactions, our actions, our behaviors, and emotions we learned throughout our lives. Remember that we are not born with our attitudes. That's something I always tell my students. Be mindful of your attitudes, and you are not born with them. We learn them. And our attitudes, remember, begins with our self-talk. No matter what your age is, it is never too early or too late to begin exercising your brain. I have a lot of students that always tell me, but Miss Laura, I cannot improve my pronunciation. I'm too old. I cannot remember everything we're learning. I'm too old. As I mentioned before, yes, there are limitations, but with practice and with imprinting this emotion and this willingness to really change our lives, anything is possible. So it's never too late to begin exercising your brain, enhancing neuroplasticity, and being more youthful in your mind, brain, and spirit. I just want to say you are in charge and you are everything you choose to be. Success is a product of the mind, but it's also a product of the wiring of our brain. Okay? Being successful is your choice, and it makes no difference where you came from if you know where you want to go. Thank you very much, and time for questions if you have any. No questions? Anything from the chat? It was my pleasure. Thank you for your attendance.